Everyone who saw Chinedu and Amara believed they had the perfect Nigerian family. A comfortable home in Lagos, 2 wonderful children, matching outfits for Sunday service, and smiles that made other couples jealous. But behind their closed door, love had already become silence. When Chinedu stopped touching his wife and began returning home with secrets in his eyes, Amara convinced herself that another woman had stolen his heart. Lonely and desperate to feel wanted again, she allowed a charming photographer to give her the attention her husband no longer offered. She thought it would happen only once. She thought she could end it before anyone discovered the truth. But Amara did not know that Chinedu had already heard the message on her phone. He knew another man was thinking about his wife, and instead of confronting her, he waited to see whether she would confess.
Then, just when Amara believed she could repair everything, Chinedu introduced their children to a mysterious woman named Ijeoma. That was when Amara found herself standing on the other side of betrayal. But who truly destroyed their marriage first? The wife who crossed the line, or the husband whose silence pushed their love into darkness? And when 2 people have wounded each other beyond recognition, is forgiveness enough to bring a family home again? From the outside, Chinedu and Amara Okafor had the kind of marriage people praised at weddings. They had been together for 11 years, married for 9, and lived with their 2 children in a comfortable duplex in Ogba, Lagos. Their daughter, Adaora, was 10 and questioned almost everything. 7-year-old Somto followed his father around whenever Chinedu was home. On Sundays, the family dressed in matching colors and attended service at Dominion Grace Assembly.
Amara wore a neatly tied gele or an Ankara dress. Chinedu appeared in a well-ironed senator outfit, and the children stood between them while the church photographer took pictures. On Instagram, they looked complete. An auntie once praised their marriage in the family WhatsApp group. Amara replied, "Amen." She did not know how to explain that peace and silence were not always the same thing. Every weekday, she woke before 5, prepared breakfast, packed the children's lunch, and shouted reminders from the kitchen. "Adaora, where is your water bottle?" "Mummy, it is inside my bag." "Then why is it on the dining table?" Somto usually moved around half asleep, dragging his shoes as though Lagos itself had offended him. Chinedu once joined the morning confusion. He would steal fried plantain from the pan and make Amara chase him with a wooden spoon. But that version of him had slowly disappeared. Now he woke quietly, bathed, dressed, and left the bedroom smelling of aftershave and distance. Some mornings he drank half a cup of tea. On others, he claimed he was late. "Daddy, you didn't eat," Adora would say. "I will buy something on the road, ne?" He still kissed the children before leaving. He rarely touched his wife. At first, Amara blamed Lagos traffic. Chinedu worked as a project manager, facing delayed materials, angry contractors, and endless calls. But tiredness had a pattern. This was something else. Chinedu began returning late. He would greet the children, eat, and sit before the television without following the program. "How was work?" Amara would ask. "Fine." "Did the meeting with the Lekki client go well?" "We are handling it." "Chinedu, is there a problem?" He would rub his forehead. "Amara, abeg, not tonight. My head is full." She gave him space, believing a good wife should know when to let her husband breathe. The problem was that the space kept growing. It entered their bedroom and lay between them. It followed them to church. It sat at the dining table while the children talked about school. Even when the generator hummed outside and the house was quiet, Chinedu turned his back to her. If she moved closer, he became stiff. If she asked whether she had offended him, he said no.
One night, after the children had gone to bed, Amara stood in front of him. "Look at me and tell me what is happening." "Nothing is happening. You no longer talk to me. Even when you are beside me, your mind is somewhere else. I am under pressure at work. You have always had pressure at work. This one is different." "Then tell me why." For one moment, fear crossed his face. Then it vanished. "There is nothing to discuss. Is there another woman?" His head snapped up. "What kind of question is that? A question from your wife. So because I am stressed, I must be cheating?" I asked. "I did not accuse you." "No, Amara, there is no woman. I am trying to keep many things together, and instead of giving me peace, you are questioning me." He walked into the bedroom, leaving her alone while the television continued speaking to nobody. What Chinedu did not tell her was that 3 months earlier, he had made the worst financial decision of his life. A contractor he trusted had invited him into a private housing project outside Lagos. The profits sounded certain, and the papers looked genuine. Chinedu invested nearly all the money he and Amara had saved toward buying land, then borrowed more when the contractor demanded one final payment. 2 weeks later, the man stopped taking calls. The office address was temporary. The land documents were trapped in a dispute Chinedu should have discovered before paying. Since then, he had been moving money from one obligation to another and praying Amara would not ask to see their savings. He kept silent because he could already imagine the disappointment on her face.
Chinedu had watched his father lose everything after a failed transport business. He remembered his mother selling wrappers and jewelry to keep food in the house. More than poverty, he remembered how neighbors looked at his father, as if a man who could not provide had become smaller than his own shadow. He had promised that his family would never see him that way, so he carried the truth alone. But shame rarely sits quietly inside a person. It came out as anger, silence, and distance. Amara knew none of this. All she knew was that the man who once called from traffic just to say he missed her now replied to her messages with, "Okay." She began to question herself. Had motherhood changed her too much? Had work made her boring? Was she no longer attractive? At 34, she was still beautiful. People told her so. But praise from strangers could not fill the place left empty by one man's indifference. At work, Amara was confident. She was an administrative coordinator at a logistics company in Ikeja, supervising schedules, vendors, and corporate events. Madam Solution, her manager called her. The name once made her proud. Lately, it reminded her that she could solve everybody's problems except her own. In August, the company began preparing for its 20th anniversary celebration. Management wanted photographs and video coverage for clients coming from Abuja, Port Harcourt, and Accra. That was how Kelechi Nwosu entered Amara's life. He arrived on a Tuesday afternoon in a pale blue shirt with the sleeves rolled up. He was not the loud kind of handsome man who expected every woman to notice him. His confidence was quieter. He greeted the receptionist properly and thanked the office assistant who brought water. Amara noticed those things before she noticed his face. During the meeting, Kelechi listened carefully. "We need warm photographs," she said. "Not those pictures where everybody looks as if they are waiting for passport capture," he laughed. "You want them to look successful, but still human." "Exactly. And you are coordinating everything?" "Unfortunately, when anything goes wrong, everybody remembers my name. And when it goes well, they say it was teamwork," he smiled. "That one is a Nigerian office tradition." Amara laughed before she could stop herself. It had been a long time since laughter came so easily.
Over the following weeks, Kelechi visited several times. Their conversations remained professional, but he had a way of making ordinary questions feel important. "Have you eaten?" It was simple, yet he asked as though the answer mattered. One afternoon, he found her alone in the conference room, surrounded by schedules and quotations. "You look like somebody fighting 3 wars at once," he said. "Only 3. He placed a takeaway pack on the table. "I bought ofada rice downstairs. They gave me too much." Amara looked at the bag. "You bought 2 spoons and 2 bottles of water for food that is too much?" Kelechi laughed. "Fine. I noticed you skipped lunch." "You are monitoring me?" "No, but even Dangote eats." She shook her head but accepted the food. They ate while rain struck the windows. Kelechi told her about leaving Enugu for Lagos with 1 camera. Amara told him about Adaora's stubbornness and Somto's belief that every appliance could be repaired by hitting it twice. She did not speak about Chinedu. Still, when Kelechi asked whether her husband would attend the celebration, something in her expression changed. "He may be busy," she replied. Kelechi did not push. That restraint made her trust him. At home, the distance continued. One Saturday, Amara prepared jollof rice, fried chicken, and moi moi because Chinedu's younger sister was visiting. The house was noisy and warm. The adults argued over football while the children ran through the passage.
For a few hours, Chinedu looked like himself again. He laughed with his sister and helped Somto repair a toy car. Amara watched from the kitchen doorway and felt hope rise inside her. After the visitors left and the children slept, she entered the bedroom wearing the perfume Chinedu had given her on their anniversary. He was seated at the edge of the bed, checking figures on his phone. She placed her hands on his shoulders. "Today was nice." "Yes." "I miss days like this." He nodded without looking up. Amara kissed his cheek. Chinedu froze. The movement was small, but she felt it. "You can laugh with everybody else," she said. "But once we are alone, you become a stranger." "Not this again, Amara." "Then when is the right time to talk to my own husband?" "I am trying to sort something out." "What thing?" "I cannot explain everything now." "Why?" "Because I cannot." The room fell silent. A neighbor's generator coughed outside. Chinedu saw the pain on her face, but instead of apologizing, he picked up his phone. "I will sleep in the sitting room." "You would rather leave than speak to me?" "I do not want us to quarrel." "No, Chinedu. You do not want me to know you." He left without answering. Amara sat on the bed until tears gathered in her eyes. She wiped them away angrily. She was tired of crying in a house where nobody seemed to notice. The following Monday, Kelechi came for the final rehearsal. Amara had barely slept. She covered the shadows beneath her eyes with makeup and worked through the morning. By afternoon, a vendor had failed to deliver part of the decoration. The sound technician demanded extra payment, and her manager blamed her for both problems. She entered the empty stairwell and closed her eyes. "Amara?" Kelechi stood below, holding his camera bag. "I am fine," she said. "I did not ask whether you were fine." He climbed the steps and stopped at a respectful distance. "Should I call someone?" "No." "Should I leave?" She shook her head. Then Amara asked, "Have you ever felt lonely in a place where you are not supposed to be lonely?" Kelechi's expression changed. "Yes," he said quietly. "That kind of loneliness is the heaviest." The answer entered her heart too easily. She told him only a little. that her husband had become distant, that every conversation ended before it began, and that she felt foolish for needing affection from a man who seemed relieved whenever she left the room. Kelechi listened without interruption. When she finished, he did not insult Chinedu or tell her to leave her marriage. He only said, "Sometimes people carry things they do not know how to name, but that does not make your pain imaginary." Amara looked away because the words nearly made her cry. That evening, after the children had eaten and Chinedu claimed he had no appetite, Amara went to bed early. Her husband remained in the sitting room, speaking softly to someone about money.
At 11:47 p.m., her phone vibrated. It was a message from Kelechi. "I hope you are feeling better. Forgive me if this is too personal, but I do not understand how a man can live beside you every day and fail to notice how remarkable you are." Amara read it once, then again. She knew she should delete it. She knew she should not reply. But in the darkness, with Chinedu's side of the bed empty and the distant hum of generators filling the night, the words felt like water offered to someone who had been pretending not to be thirsty. Her fingers hovered over the keyboard, and for the first time, the wall around her marriage developed a crack. Amara did not reply that night. She placed the phone face down, but Kelechi's message remained in her mind. Beside her, Chinedu's side of the bed was empty. He entered close to 1 in the morning and lay down without touching her. By dawn, Amara had decided to behave as though the message had never arrived.
At work, she kept every conversation professional. Kelechi understood her silence and did not mention his message again. That should have made things easier. Instead, his restraint disappointed her. She was a married woman and a mother of 2. Yet, when he passed her desk without stopping, something inside her tightened. That evening, she opened their chat. "Thank you for checking on me yesterday." "You are welcome," he replied. "I hope I did not cross a line." Amara should have said yes. Instead, she wrote, "Maybe you came close. I will be careful." The conversation ended there, but a door had opened. Their messages remained harmless at first. He sent reminders about the company event. She asked about invoices. Sometimes he added a joke. Sometimes she replied after midnight. Then the messages changed. "Have you eaten? How was your day? Did Somto finish his school project?" No single question looked dangerous. That was what made the danger easy to ignore.
At home, Chinedu became more withdrawn. He took calls outside and lowered his voice whenever Amara entered. Twice, she found him sitting alone after midnight, writing figures in a notebook. "What is going on?" she asked. "I am handling it." "Handling what?" Chinedu closed the notebook. "Must every matter become an interrogation? You are making me feel like a stranger in my own house. And you are making the house feel like another office." The words landed hard. Chinedu carried the notebook away and slept in the sitting room again. The next day, Kelechi took one look at her face and asked, "Bad morning?" During lunch, they shared meat pies in a small meeting room while the generator rattled outside. Amara told herself she was only talking to a friend. She described Chinedu's silence and admitted she sometimes wondered whether he still loved her. "Maybe he is carrying something heavy," Kelechi said. "Then why must I suffer for it?"
"You sound like somebody who has not been heard for a long time."
The words almost made her cry. That evening, Kelechi sent her a photograph from the test shoot. She stood near the stage, unaware of the camera. "You make stress look elegant," he wrote. Amara laughed aloud. Adora, doing homework beside her, looked up. "Mummy, what is funny?" "Something from work." Daddy said phones are not allowed during homework. Amara quickly locked the screen. Later, she deleted the photograph, then restored it. The company anniversary arrived on a humid Friday evening. The hall in Ikeja was decorated in gold and cream. High-life music played while waiters moved between tables with small chops and peppered chicken. Amara wore a deep green dress with subtle embroidery. Chinedu had promised to attend, but 1 hour before the event, he sent a message saying he could not come. No apology, no explanation. When Kelechi arrived, he stopped for half a second. "You look beautiful," he said. "Thank you."
His voice was quiet, but the words reached places she had been trying to protect. The program went well. Employees danced to old Afrobeat songs, and after the formal speeches, Amara allowed her colleagues to pull her onto the dance floor. For a few minutes, she forgot the emptiness waiting at home. From the edge of the crowd, Kelechi smiled at her. Amara returned the smile before looking away. Near midnight, heavy rain began. Within minutes, brown water covered parts of the car park. Amara's ride canceled because of flooding near Maryland. "I can take you," Kelechi offered. She tried 2 more drivers, both canceled. Finally, she agreed. For the first part of the journey, they spoke only about the event. Rain hammered the windscreen, and traffic crawled through streets shining under yellow lamps. Near Allen Avenue, Kelechi's car began making an unusual sound. He pulled into the compound of his studio. "The water may have entered somewhere," he said.
He called his mechanic, who advised him not to drive again that night. They tried several ride applications. Every driver canceled. Amara called Chinedu twice. No answer. Her frustration rose. "My husband cannot even pick his phone." "Maybe he is asleep," Kelechi said. "He is not even home." Amara sat on the small sofa and looked at the rain. "If he called now, I would still pretend everything was fine." "Why?" "Because I am tired of begging somebody to care." Kelechi sat opposite her, leaving space between them. "Amara, I do not want to take advantage of what you are feeling." The words exposed what neither of them had spoken aloud. She looked at him. "And what exactly am I feeling?" He held her gaze, then looked away. "You are married." "I know. And I have been trying to remember it every time you walk into a room." The air changed. "Then you should not have sent that message," Amara said. "I know. You should not make me feel seen when I am trying not to need it."
Kelechi stood and moved toward the window. "I am sorry." Amara rose to leave, though she had nowhere to go. As she passed, he lightly touched her wrist. The touch lasted only a moment. Amara should have pulled away. Instead, she stopped. Kelechi released her immediately. "Forgive me." She turned toward him. When he leaned closer, he paused, giving her time to step back. Amara could hear the rain, the hum of the inverter, and her own breathing. Then she closed the distance herself. The kiss was brief and uncertain. When she understood what she was doing, she pushed against his chest. "No, this is wrong." "You are right." She walked toward the door, then stopped. She thought of Chinedu turning away from her night after night, of every question he refused to answer and every touch he avoided. None of those things made this right. But pain has a way of presenting temptation as comfort. When Amara turned back, Kelechi was still standing where she had left him.
That second choice was the one she would remember most. Later, Amara sat alone in the studio washroom, pressing a cold hand against her forehead. There had been no force and no confusion about what had happened. She had crossed the line herself. When she emerged, Kelechi's face carried concern rather than triumph. "Amara,"
Do not say anything. A driver finally accepted the trip. Before she entered the car, Kelechi said, "What happened tonight was not a game to me." "It must never happen again," Amara replied. She closed the door before he could answer. She reached home shortly before 4. Chinedu was asleep on the sitting room sofa, still wearing his clothes. A notebook lay open on the floor beside him. For one painful second, Amara wanted to wake him and confess everything. Instead, she covered him with a light blanket. Then she went into the bathroom and cried beneath the shower so nobody would hear. The next morning, she prepared akara and pap for the children.
Adewora complained that Somto had taken the larger portion. Somto spilled pap on the table. Chinedu sat with his phone, looking exhausted. Nobody knew that Amara felt as though she was standing inside the ruins of her own life. Chinedu glanced at her. "You came in late." "The rain was terrible." "Why did you not call?" "I did." He checked his phone and saw the missed calls. "I was tired." Amara nearly laughed. Instead, she said, "It is fine." For the next week, she avoided Kelechi, deleted his messages, and asked a colleague to handle the remaining documents. She prayed, came home early, and tried to become a better wife. But guilt made every effort feel false. One Friday afternoon, Kelechi came to the office. Amara led him into an empty conference room but kept her distance. "You should not have come," she said. "You blocked my number. I needed to know you were all right." "I am not. What happened was a mistake." "To you, maybe." "Do not make this harder. Walk away." Kelechi looked at her. "Tell me you feel nothing, and I will never contact you again." Amara opened her mouth, but no words came. "I know you love your children," he said. "I know you are married, but when you are with me, you do not look invisible. Please stop." After a long silence, Kelechi said, "I am in love with you." The words were everything she had wanted to hear and everything she should have feared. Amara asked him to leave. For 3 days, they did not speak. Then Chinedu canceled a family outing without explanation. Adaora cried, and Somto waited by the window in his shoes for a father who had already left. Amara took the children out alone. They ate suya and ice cream and took photographs beneath the trees. She smiled for them, but inside she felt abandoned. That night, after putting the children to bed, she opened the last message Kelechi had sent. "I meant what I said. I will not disturb you again." Amara stared at it for a long time.
Then she replied,
"I miss talking to you."
His answer came almost immediately. "I miss you too." That was how the affair truly began. Not with the rain or the studio, but when Amara, fully aware of what had happened and what it could destroy, chose to open the door again. Their meetings were careful and infrequent at first, usually far from her office. Kelechi never demanded that she leave her family, making it easier for Amara to believe they could keep their lives separate. At home, she became skilled at lying. She blamed traffic, meetings, and last-minute work. She kept her phone on silent and deleted conversations before entering the compound. She bought small gifts for the children to soothe her conscience and became unusually patient with Chinedu. But secrets changed the person carrying them. Chinedu noticed her smiling at her screen. He noticed the new perfume, the unexplained overtime, and the energy she no longer had around him.
One night, while Amara was in the kitchen, Kelechi sent a voice note. Her phone lay on the dining table. Chinedu saw his name appear on the screen. He watched Amara rush from the kitchen, pick up the phone, and turn it over. Their eyes met. Who is Kelechi? He asked.
A photographer we hired for the anniversary event.
Why is he messaging you at this hour?
It is about work.
At 11:30?
People in creative work do not keep normal hours.
Chinedu studied her face. Amara, is there somebody else?
The question struck her with the weight of a stone. She could have ended the lies there. She could have confessed and accepted whatever followed. But fear spoke before truth found its voice. No, she said. There is nobody.
Chinedu looked at her for several seconds, then nodded slowly. He stood, walked into the bedroom, and closed the door. Amara remained beside the dining table, holding the phone against her chest. A few minutes later, another message appeared from Kelechi.
I wish I could see you tonight.
She did not reply. Across the hall, Chinedu sat alone on the bed. Earlier that evening, while charging Amara's phone, he had accidentally heard the beginning of Kelechi's voice note before the screen locked. It contained only 5 words.
I cannot stop thinking about you.
Chinedu had heard enough, yet he said nothing. He wanted to know whether his wife would choose the truth without being forced. That night, Amara lay beside him, believing her secret was still safe. Chinedu faced the wall, wide awake, while the life they had built quietly split open between them. For the next several weeks, Chinedu behaved as though nothing had changed. He still woke before sunrise, drove the children to school when he could, and asked about diesel for the generator. To outsiders, he was merely a tired husband carrying the usual weight of Lagos life. But inside the house, his silence no longer felt empty. It felt watchful.
Amara sometimes wondered whether he knew, yet she kept telling herself that if he truly knew, he would speak. So she continued balancing 2 lives until even Kelechi noticed she was becoming a shadow of herself. One evening, they sat in his parked car behind a quiet restaurant in Ikeja. Rain clouds hung low over the city, and the smell of grilled fish drifted from the kitchen nearby. You are here, but your mind is not, Kelechi said. This cannot continue. His jaw tightened. What exactly cannot continue? Us, the lies, everything. You said that before, and 2 days later you called me. I know. So what has changed? I have changed. No, Amara, you are afraid. Of course I am afraid. I have a husband and 2 children. Every time Adaora looks at me, I feel as if she can see what I have done. Kelechi turned toward her. And what about what I feel? I never promised you a future. You did not have to. You came back. The words hurt because they were true. My marriage is broken, but it is still my marriage, she said. And are you happy there? This is not only about happiness. That is what married people say when they are too afraid to leave, Kelechi replied. Amara opened the car door. Where are you going? Home. Amara, wait. She stepped out and ordered a ride. Kelechi did not follow her. At home, Chinedu was helping Somto with mathematics. Adaora sat nearby, cutting colored paper for school. The sight was so ordinary that it almost broke Amara's heart. Mommy, see what Daddy drew, Somto said. On the page was a rough diagram of fractions shaped like meat pie slices. Amara smiled. Your father has turned mathematics into food. At least now he understands it, Chinedu replied. Their eyes met briefly. For a moment, they looked like the couple they used to be. That night, Amara remembered their small Surulere flat, where they once saved money and labeled envelopes and spoke about everything. Somewhere along the way,
The truths they hid had become walls. The next morning, Amara blocked Kelechi's number. She transferred all remaining communication with his studio to another colleague and refused to see him when he came to the office. For the first time since the affair began, she made a decision and kept it. The first week was painful. Whenever something happened, her mind formed the words she would once have sent Kelechi. But she did not send them. Instead, she came home earlier, cooked egusi soup the way Chinedu liked it, and packed his lunch with short notes. Remember to eat. Chinedu read every note, but never mentioned them. Amara suggested they attend the couple's fellowship at church. Chinedu said he was too busy. She then proposed a family weekend away. He avoided the subject until Adaora heard and began begging. "Daddy, please, even if it is only Ibadan, I want to see Cocoa House." Somto shouted, "And the zoo!" Chinedu finally agreed.
They left Lagos early on Saturday with boiled eggs, bread, groundnuts, and water. The children argued over music until Chinedu played old highlife songs and sang badly enough to make everyone laugh. At Agodi Gardens, they took photographs, then ate amala with begiri and ewedu. For the first time in months, Chinedu looked like a man inside his own family rather than a visitor passing through it. That evening, after the children slept in the hotel room, Amara and Chinedu sat on the small balcony. Ibadan stretched before them, quieter than Lagos, its lights scattered across the darkness. "I miss this," Amara said. "What?" "Us sitting without fighting." Chinedu leaned back. "We are not fighting because the children are asleep." "That is not funny." "I was not joking." She studied him. "Do you still want this marriage?" He did not answer immediately. "Chinedu, I do not know what this marriage is anymore." The honesty frightened her. "Then let us rebuild it," she said. "With what?"
"With the truth." The word hung between them. Chinedu looked at her, and for one terrible moment, she believed he was about to ask about Kelechi. Instead, he lowered his head. "There is something I should have told you months ago." He told her about the housing project, the contractor, the disputed land, and the money he had invested. Most of their savings were gone. He had also borrowed from 2 friends and a cooperative society. Amara felt the night tilt around her. "You used almost everything?" "I thought I could replace it before you found out." "That money was for land, for the children, for us." "I know." "You did not even ask me." "I know." "Chinedu, how could you make such a decision alone?" His shame quickly became defensiveness. "I was trying to improve our lives." "By gambling with everything we saved?" "It was not gambling. I checked the documents." "Not well enough." He flinched. Amara regretted the words at once, but anger had already taken hold. "So this is why you treated me like an enemy?" "I did not know how to tell you. You stopped speaking to me. You stopped touching me. You made me believe I had become nothing to you." Chinedu stood. "And what did you do with that belief?" The question came so sharply that Amara froze. "What do you mean?" He looked away. "Nothing." Her heartbeat pounded. This was the moment to confess. She could tell him that while he drowned in shame, she had searched for comfort elsewhere. She could end the lies before they grew deeper. Her mouth opened. Then Adaora called, "Mummy!" from inside the room. Amara rushed to her. By the time she returned, Chinedu had gone to bed. The moment was lost, though deep down she knew moments did not disappear on their own. People allowed them to pass. The drive back to Lagos was quiet, but Chinedu had finally shared his burden. Amara reviewed their expenses, canceled a furniture purchase, and offered part of her bonus toward one loan.
"You do not have to do that," he said. "It is our problem now." He looked at her with gratitude, or perhaps guilt. For several weeks, their marriage seemed to breathe again. Chinedu came home earlier, ate with the family, and slept in their bedroom. Sometimes he reached for Amara in his sleep, and she lay beneath his arm, comforted and ashamed. One Sunday after church, Adaora insisted on a family picture. Chinedu placed his hand on Amara's shoulder, and the small touch gave her hope. That evening, Amara deleted Kelechi's old messages, photographs, and voice notes. She told herself the worst was over. But Kelechi had not accepted her silence. He sent emails from unfamiliar addresses and once delivered white lilies without a card. Amara threw them away. Then, on a Wednesday evening, she returned home and found him across the road from her compound. Her body went cold. "I have been trying to reach you," Kelechi said. "You cannot come here. You disappeared. I ended it. You blocked me."
That is not an ending. It is the only ending I can give you. His face hardened. After everything, you return to your husband and pretend I never existed? I am not pretending. I am ending what should never have started. You came to me too, Amara. I have not forgotten one day of it. A light came on in the neighboring house. Amara lowered her voice. Please leave. I love you. Do not say that here. It is true. It is also too late. Kelechi reached for her hand, but she pulled away, just as Mama Bisi, their neighbor, stepped through the side gate and stopped when she saw them. Amara, good evening, she said slowly. Good evening, Ma. Her eyes moved from Amara to Kelechi. Kelechi understood. Without another word, he walked to his car and drove away. Your friend? Mama Bisi asked. A vendor from work. At this time? He came about a payment issue. Mama Bisi nodded, but her face showed she did not believe her. Inside, Chinedu was watching television with the children. He looked up when Amara entered. You are late. Traffic. He nodded. Amara waited for another question, but none came. 2 days later, Chinedu sent the children to spend the weekend with his sister in Yaba. After they left, the house felt unnaturally quiet. Amara was in the kitchen when he called her name. He sat at the dining table. In front of him lay her old phone. Where did you get that? She asked. It was in the drawer. That phone is damaged. Not completely. He pushed it toward her. On the screen was a restored photograph of Amara and Kelechi sitting close together in his studio. It was not an intimate picture, but there was no mistaking the affection between them. Chinedu placed a small recorder beside the phone. I also saved the voice note from the night I asked you about him. Amara gripped the back of a chair. How long? He asked. She tried to speak. How long, Amara? It started after the company anniversary. His face remained calm, and that frightened her more than shouting. Did you love him? I was confused. That is not an answer. I thought I did. Chinedu looked down and gave a short, humorless laugh. It is over, Amara said quickly. I ended it. When? Before Ibadan. So while I was telling you that I had lost our savings, you were carrying this secret? Tears filled her eyes. I wanted to tell you. But you did not. I was afraid. I was afraid too. That is why I hid the money problem. I was wrong. But when I finally spoke, you stood there and said we should rebuild with truth. I am sorry. I asked you directly if there was another man. I know. You looked into my face and lied. Chinedu stood, and the chair scraped across the floor. I heard his voice that night, he said. I knew. I waited because I wanted to see whether my wife would choose honesty without being cornered. Please forgive me. I kept waiting.
He went into the bedroom and pulled a travel bag from the wardrobe. Amara followed. Where are you going? He began packing. Chinedu, do not leave like this. How should I leave? We can talk. We can go to the pastor. We can get help. You had many chances to talk. I made a terrible mistake. No, a mistake happens once. You made choices, then built lies around them. Amara held his arm. Think about Adaora and Somto. Pain crossed his face. Do not use the children to hold me inside something you were willing to risk. She released him. Chinedu zipped the bag and lifted it. At the door, Amara stood in front of him. I love you. He looked at her for a long time. Maybe you do, he said quietly. But love without truth is only another kind of hunger. He stepped past her. Amara followed him to the sitting room, crying openly. Where will you go? To my brother's place. Will you come back?
Chinedu opened the door, letting in the evening noise of traffic and a neighbor's television. I was not waiting for an excuse, Amara, he said. I was waiting for you to choose the truth. The door closed behind him. Amara stood alone beneath the family photograph from the previous Sunday. Chinedu's hand rested on her shoulder. Adaora and Somto smiled between them, unaware that their parents were standing on opposite sides of a secret. Amara sank to the floor. For months, she had feared that confession would destroy her marriage. Only now did she understand that the silence had destroyed it first. For the first 3 days after Chinedu left, Amara moved through the house like somebody whose body had forgotten where to stand. She woke before dawn, prepared the children for school, and answered every question with a calmness she did not feel. When Adaora asked why their father had not returned, Amara said he had gone to stay with Uncle Obina because of work pressure. Did you and Daddy quarrel? Adaora asked. Adults sometimes need space to settle matters. Will he come back? I hope so. That evening, Chinedu called the children, asked about school, and promised to visit on Saturday. He did not ask to speak with Amara. When he arrived, Adaora and Somto ran into his arms. You did not tell me what time you were coming, she said. I did not want another argument. I am not trying to argue. Chinedu looked past her. I came to see the children. The words were calm, but their meaning was cruel in its simplicity. He had not come to see his wife. Amara prepared jollof rice and grilled chicken, hoping he might stay for lunch. But when she set the table, Chinedu stood. I should go. The food is ready. I am not hungry. You have not eaten. Adaora looked from one parent to the other. Chinedu softened his voice. I have somewhere to be. I will eat later.
After he left, Amara carried his untouched plate back to the kitchen and covered it, though she knew nobody would eat it. The following Sunday, Amara stayed behind after church. and admitted to Pastor Nathan and his wife that she had betrayed her marriage. "You cannot control whether he returns," the pastor said. "Take responsibility, give him room, and protect the children from the quarrel." "But how do I show him I have changed?" "Change is not a performance. If you are doing it only to bring him back, you may become bitter when he does not respond." Amara later suggested counseling, but Chinedu refused. "I am not ready," he said. "You want the pastor to persuade me before I have decided what I want." For the next month, she stopped calling every night and sent only messages about the children, school fees, and household expenses. Chinedu continued sending money. Whatever had broken between him and Amara, he did not abandon his responsibilities as a father. But he refused to sleep in the house. He moved into a small apartment near his office in Maryland. When Amara learned the address, she sent him bitter leaf soup and rice through a dispatch rider. He returned the food and called her. "Please stop. I can feed myself." "I know. I did it because you are still my husband." "Do not make ordinary things carry meanings I have not agreed to." Amara cried after the call, but she did not send another meal. She focused on the children and work. She stopped checking Kelechi's blocked number. Once, she found an email from him in her spam folder. "I hope you are safe. I am sorry for the part I played." She deleted it without replying. Meanwhile, Chinedu's life became a routine of work, debt repayment, and weekends with the children. He sold his second car, negotiated with creditors, and accepted a temporary role overseeing projects for a property company in Victoria Island. That was where he met Ijeoma Eze.
She was 36, a senior accountant, and a widow. Her husband had died 4 years earlier, leaving her with a teenage daughter who lived mostly with Ijeoma's mother in Enugu. Ijeoma was quiet and observant. Their first real conversation happened when she noticed him checking the same report again. "Either the figures are wrong, or your mind is somewhere else," she said. "Is that an accounting diagnosis?" "It is a human diagnosis." He almost smiled. Over time, they began eating lunch together. At first, they spoke about contractors and delayed payments. Later, they spoke about children. One evening, heavy traffic trapped them in the office. As brake lights stretched across the road, Ijeoma asked whether he was separated. "Yes," Chinedu said. "I do not even know what I want yet." She did not ask for details. Not knowing is better than pretending. The sentence stayed with him. In the weeks that followed, he told her pieces of the truth. The affair, the financial loss, the silence that had swallowed his marriage. Ijeoma listened without turning Amara into a villain. "That must have hurt," she said. It did. But pain can make a person believe only one side of a story exists. Are you defending her? No, I am reminding you that anger can become a room you lock from the inside. He should have been offended. Instead, he respected her. At home, Amara sensed a change before she knew its name. Chinedu looked calmer. During visits, he laughed more easily with the children. He bought new shirts and changed his cologne. When his phone rang, he sometimes stepped away to answer. Amara told herself she had no right to question him. Still, jealousy arrived before reason. One Saturday, Chinedu took the children to a cultural festival at Freedom Park. When they returned, Adaora talked excitedly about dancers, drummers, and a woman named Auntie Ijeoma. "She bought me a book," Adaora said. Amara's hands went still. "Who is Auntie Ijeoma?" "Daddy's friend from work." Somto lifted a carved wooden whistle. "She bought this for me." Chinedu stood near the door.
watching Amara's expression change. You took another woman out with our children? She met us there. By accident? No. The children fell silent. Not in front of them, Chinedu said. Amara sent them upstairs, then faced him. How long? Nothing has happened. That is what people say when something has already started. Be careful, Amara. Did you tell her you were married? Yes. Did you tell her your wife is trying to fix the marriage? I told her we are separated. We are not divorced. I know the law. So you are punishing me. This is not about punishment. You bring a woman around my children and call it nothing? She came as my friend. A friend who buys them gifts? She bought them small things at a festival. Amara laughed bitterly. You could not forgive me, but you wasted no time finding comfort. Chinedu looked tired. You think this started because I wanted revenge? What else should I think? You should think about how it feels when somebody else decides your pain has an expiry date. He walked out before she could answer. That night, Amara searched for Ijeoma online. Nothing about the composed widow looked scandalous, and that made Amara dislike her more. She imagined Ijeoma offering Chinedu the patience she had failed to give him. 2 weeks later, Adaora school held an arts presentation. Amara arrived early, wearing a blue Ankara dress in the color of her daughter's house. Chinedu had promised to come directly from work. The hall was already crowded when he entered. Ijeoma was beside him. Ijeoma wore a cream blouse and a patterned skirt. She did not hold Chinedu's hand, but the ease between them was unmistakable. Adaora ran toward her father, then greeted Ijeoma with a smile. Auntie Ijeoma, you came!
I promised I would try.
Amara felt something inside her collapse. Chinedu approached. Amara, this is Ijeoma, my colleague.
We have not met,
Ijeoma said gently.
It is good to finally meet you.
Amara looked at the hand she offered but did not take it. Finally, Chinedu stepped in. This is not the place.
No, it is exactly the place. My daughter's school. My family.
People nearby began to notice. Ijeoma lowered her hand.
I did not come to cause trouble. Then why are you here? Adaora invited me when we met at the festival.
She is a child. You should have known better.
I should leave,
Ijeoma said. Adaora had returned and stood a few steps away, her face anxious.
Please don't go,
she said. The words struck Amara harder than anything Chinedu could have said. Ijeoma crouched slightly.
I came to watch you perform, but your mummy and daddy need to talk. I will see you another time.
During the performance, Amara clapped and smiled whenever Adaora looked toward the audience, but her hands felt numb. Afterward, she confronted Chinedu near the car park. You humiliated me. I did not know Adaora had invited her until this morning. You still brought her. I thought we could behave like adults. Adults? You are still my husband. And you were still my wife when you chose Kelechi. The words silenced her. So this is revenge, she whispered. No, revenge would mean I was doing it for you. I am trying to live for myself. Do you love her? He took a long breath. I do not know. That means yes. It means I am not ready to name it. Have you been with her? Not in the way you are asking. Amara turned away, ashamed of the relief she felt. She knows I am not ready for a relationship, Chinedu said. I am fighting for my family. No, you are fighting to put everything back exactly where it was, so you do not have to accept what has changed.
For days, Amara saw Ijeoma everywhere. In Chinedu's calmer voice, in Adaora's new book, and in every call he answered away from her. One evening, Adaora found Amara sitting alone in the kitchen. "Mommy, are you angry with Auntie Ijeoma?" "Why do you ask?" "Because you looked at her as if she did something bad." Adaora sat opposite her. "She is nice, but you are my mummy." The reassurance was innocent, yet it showed how much the child already understood. "I know, my love." "Then why are you afraid?" "I am not afraid." Adaora lowered her eyes. "You are." After the children slept, Amara stood before the mirror. She remembered the nights Chinedu had wondered where she was, the lies she had spoken, and the fear he must have felt each time her phone lit up. Now she understood the cruelty of uncertainty. Knowing she had caused the same pain did not make her own pain smaller. It only removed the comfort of believing she was innocent. The next Sunday, she visited Chinedu's mother. Mama Chinedu served her malt and chin-chin and listened while Amara spoke through tears. "I have apologized. I ended everything. I am trying, Mama." The older woman sighed. "My daughter, apology is a seed. You cannot plant it today and dig up the ground tomorrow because you want to see whether it has grown." "So I should watch another woman take my husband?" "I did not say that." "She is already close to the children." "And you must be careful not to turn your children into soldiers." Amara looked away. "Two wounds shouting at each other will not become healing," Mama Chinedu said. Amara left without the comfort she had hoped to receive. That evening, Chinedu came to drop off the children and asked if they could speak outside. "Ijeoma has decided not to attend anything involving the children for now," he said. Amara felt a brief sense of victory. Then he added, "She did that because she does not want them caught between us, not because you drove her away." "Why are you defending her?" "Because you are treating her as the cause of a marriage that was already broken." "You are saying there is something between you?" "I am saying I care about her." The world seemed to narrow around Amara. "I did not plan it," he continued. "She was kind to me when I had become suspicious of every kind word." "And what am I supposed to do with that?" "I do not know." "You still love me?" A shadow moved across his face. "Love is not always enough to return to the same place." He walked to his car. From the upstairs window, Adaora called, "Mummy, why were you crying?" "Dust entered my eye." Adaora was silent for a moment. Then she asked, "Why are you angry with Auntie Ijeoma if Daddy smiles when she is there?" Amara could not answer. The gate stood open before her, but for the first time she understood that the way back to her old life might no longer exist. Chinedu's message arrived on a Tuesday afternoon while Amara was reviewing transport invoices at work. "We need to talk properly."
Saturday, 2 p.m. There is a cafe near City Mall. Please come alone. She read it several times. For weeks, every conversation between them had ended in coldness or silence. Yet the words, "talk properly," awakened hope. Amara spent the next 4 days rehearsing what she would say. She would admit what she had done with Kelechi and ask for one final chance. If he wanted counseling or months of patience, she would accept it. On Saturday, she told the children she had a meeting and asked her sister Neka to stay with them. "Is it about Daddy?" Adaora asked. "Yes." "Will he come home after?" "I do not know, my love." Adaora nodded with the seriousness of a child who had learned not to trust hopeful answers. Amara chose a simple wine-colored dress Chinedu once said made her look peaceful. She wore her wedding ring and the small gold earrings he had bought during their first anniversary. The cafe was quiet when she arrived.
Chinedu sat at a corner table with 2 bottles of water before him. His face looked older than it had a year earlier. "Thank you for coming," he said. "I would always come if you asked." He glanced at her ring, then looked away. Outside the window, traffic moved along the road, and a hawker balanced packets of plantain chips on her head. "You said we should talk properly." Before Chinedu could answer, the cafe door opened. Ijeoma entered. Amara felt the blood drain from her face. She wore a modest navy dress. She paused when she saw Amara, then approached slowly. "What is she doing here?" Amara asked. "I asked her to come," Chinedu said. "No, you asked me to come alone." "I said you should come alone. I did not say I would." Ijeoma remained standing. "Amara, I am not here to insult you. You have already done enough by coming." "Please sit," Chinedu said. "I wanted all 3 of us to speak because I do not want more rumors, secret messages, or misunderstandings." "So this is an ambush?" "It is not," Ijeoma said. "If you want me to leave, I will." "Yes, leave," Chinedu shook his head. "No, we need clarity." The word irritated Amara. Clarity had become the language people used when they were preparing to hurt someone politely. Ijeoma sat beside Chinedu, leaving a careful distance between them. Amara noticed that he did not move away. "You invited your wife to meet your woman. Do not call her that." "What should I call her? Your colleague? Your friend? The person who makes you smile?" Ijeoma's expression remained controlled. "I understand that you are angry. You understand nothing about me." "You are right. I do not know everything you have lived through." "Then stay out of my marriage." Chinedu leaned forward. "Amara, our marriage is why we are here." Something in his voice frightened her. "I have decided that we should end it legally," he said. The cafe sounds seemed to disappear. Amara stared at him. "What did you say?"
I want us to begin the process of ending the marriage. I also want us to agree on the children, school, visitation, and expenses, without turning it into war.
She looked at Ijeoma. "So you have already planned everything?"
No,
Ijeoma said.
I did not ask him to leave you, but you are here to enjoy the result.
Chinedu's hand tightened around the bottle.
This decision is mine. Since when? Since I understood that going back would not make me trust you again. I have changed. I believe you are trying to change. Trying? I do not know what is inside your heart, Amara. That is the problem.
Tears gathered in her eyes, but she refused to let them fall.
I ended everything with Kelechi. I confessed. I have done everything. I never asked you to cook for me, follow me, or send people to beg me. I was trying to save our family. You were trying to erase what happened. Every time I ask for space, you call it abandonment.
Every time I say I am hurt, you remind me that I also became distant. You want your apology to return us to the day before the betrayal. That is not true. Amara turned toward Ijeoma. And you sit there as if you are innocent. You entered the life of a married man. Ijeoma took a breath. When I met Chinedu, he was living separately from you. He told me he was not ready for another relationship. And you waited like a patient woman? No, I tried to keep my distance, but feelings grew. How convenient. I am not proud of causing you pain, Ijeoma said, but I did not create the wound between you. Amara laughed bitterly. That is what women like you always say. Chinedu's voice hardened. Enough. Ijeoma did not come here to be abused. And I came here for what? To be informed that my husband has replaced me? You were not replaced. That is easy for you to say while she sits beside you. Chinedu closed his eyes briefly.
When I discovered Kelechi, I did not leave immediately because I wanted to understand whether there was anything left to save. I listened to you talk about truth in Ibadan while you still hid him from me. I watched you make plans for us while deleting messages behind my back. I was ashamed. So was I when I lost our money, but I eventually told you. And before you told me, you shut me out for months. You made me feel unwanted. You pushed me toward... Amara stopped. Chinedu's eyes hardened. Say it. You pushed me toward loneliness. No, Amara. I caused loneliness in our marriage. I accept that, but I did not push you into Kelechi's arms. That was your choice. The words landed with painful precision. For months, Amara had repeated the story differently in her mind. Chinedu had become cold. She had become lonely. Kelechi had arrived. One thing had led naturally to another, but Chinedu refused to let the sequence become an excuse. I was wrong too, he continued.
I hid money matters. I treated you like an enemy because I was ashamed. I stopped being your partner before you stopped being faithful. But my wrong does not become the author of your wrong. Amara pressed her lips together. The worst part was not even that you were with him, Chinedu said. It was that you looked into my face and lied when I gave you the chance to tell me. Then you let me confess my own failure while you kept yours hidden. I was afraid you would leave. And I was afraid you would despise me because I had lost the money. Fear made both of us dishonest. That is why we are here. Amara's tears finally fell. So there is no chance? Chinedu's expression softened, but not enough to give her hope. I do not want to return to the marriage. Because you love her? He glanced at Ijeoma. I care deeply about her. Have you promised to marry her? No. Would you marry her? If our relationship continues and we are both certain, perhaps. But that is not why I am ending this marriage. She did not believe him. Or perhaps she did, and that hurt more. Ijeoma spoke quietly. Amara, I am not asking your children to call me mother. Whatever happens between Chinedu and me, you will always be their mother. Do not speak about my children. I am speaking because I do not want them to suffer. You think buying them books and smiling at school makes you good? No. Then what do you want from me? Nothing. Only that we do not use them to punish one another. The calmness in Ijeoma's voice made Amara feel wild and exposed. She stood so quickly that her chair struck the floor. You both planned this speech. Sit down, Chinedu said. No. You want to discuss visitation as if I am already a stranger in my own family. You are not a stranger. You are their mother. And your wife. Legally, yes, but not in the way a marriage should exist. Humiliation burned through her. You should have spoken to me alone. I asked Ijeoma here because you have sent her messages and questioned the children about her. I wanted the secrecy to stop. Amara turned to Ijeoma. You showed him my messages? Yes. Of course. They were becoming hostile, Ijeoma said. I did not want to answer them. Amara remembered the messages she had sent late at night, some pleading and others angry. At the time, the words felt justified. Now they sounded like the voice of somebody she barely recognized. "I will not sign anything today," Amara said. "Nobody asked you to. We can involve lawyers and family elders. I want it done properly." "Properly," she repeated. "After everything. I am trying not to make it worse. You have already made it worse." She picked up her bag and walked out before her knees failed her. Outside, the afternoon heat struck her face. She had imagined the end of a marriage would come with shouting or one dramatic door closing forever. Instead, it had come over bottled water in a quiet cafe while her husband spoke carefully and another woman sat beside him. By the time Amara reached home, evening clouds had gathered. Nneka was in the sitting room with the children. One look at Amara's face told her everything. "Should I stay?" Nneka asked. "No, thank you." Adora came closer. "Did Daddy say when he is coming back?" Amara could not answer immediately. "He is not coming back to live here," she said at last. Somto stopped playing with his toy car. "Never?" "I do not know what the future will look like, but Daddy loves both of you." Adora's face hardened. "Did Auntie Ijeoma tell him not to come?" "No." "Then why?" "Because your father and I have hurt each other, and sometimes adults cannot repair things the way they want." "Did you do something bad?" The question was quiet. Amara looked at her daughter and understood that another lie would continue the same destruction. "Yes," she said. "I made a serious mistake." "Daddy also made mistakes, but none of it is your fault." Adora began to cry. "Why can't you just say sorry?" "I have." "Then he should forgive you." "Forgiveness does not always mean people live together again." Somto climbed into Amara's lap. "I want Daddy here." "I know." That night, the children barely ate. Adora pushed her rice around the plate, and Somto asked twice whether Chinedu would still attend his football match. Later, Amara lay in bed but could not sleep. Around midnight, she heard movement in the kitchen. She found Adora standing on a stool, trying to warm the leftover stew. Somto sat at the table, rubbing his eyes. "What are you doing?" Amara asked. "You did not eat," Adora said. "Auntie Nneka said you only drank water." Amara looked at the two children. Her daughter had placed rice on a plate and covered it to keep it warm. Somto had brought a sachet of water from the fridge.
They were trying to care for her because she had been too lost in her pain to care for herself. Something inside Amara broke open. She knelt and pulled them close. "I am sorry," she whispered. "For what?" Somto asked. "For making both of you carry things that belong to adults." Adora held her tightly. "Are you going to be okay?" Amara wanted to promise, but promises had become dangerous in their house. "I will work on being okay." The next morning, she removed her wedding ring. She held it for a long time, remembering the small church hall where Chinedu had placed it on her finger. They had been younger, poorer, and certain that love would protect them from becoming people who could hurt one another. Amara did not throw it away. She placed it in a wooden box with old photographs, the children's hospital bracelets, and the first birthday card Chinedu had ever given her. Then she closed the lid. For the first time, she understood that fighting for a family was not always the same as fighting for a marriage. Sometimes, the bravest thing a parent could do was stop the battle before the children learned to call pain love. The weeks after Amara removed her wedding ring were not peaceful, but they were honest. She stopped calling Chinedu unless the matter concerned Adaora or Somto. She no longer asked where he slept or whether Ijeoma was with him. The silence between them changed.
It was still painful, but it no longer carried the same desperate struggle. When Chinedu came for the children, Amara greeted him, gave him their medicines, school notes, and clean clothes, then stepped aside. At first, he seemed suspicious of her calmness. "You are not going to ask when I will bring them back?" he asked one Friday evening. "Sunday by 6, that is what we agreed." "And if traffic is bad?" "Call me." He nodded, almost disappointed that there was no argument.
Adara and Somto left with small backpacks. Amara stood at the gate until the car disappeared. Then she returned to the empty house. For years she had complained that she never had time for herself. Now the quiet frightened her. She cried that first weekend. On the second, she cleaned the cupboards and visited Nneka. On the third, she slept until 8 and did not feel guilty. Healing came in small things: a meal without tears, a full night's sleep, and a day without checking Ijeoma's social media page. The legal process began slowly. Chinedu involved an older uncle, while Amara asked Nneka and Pastor Nathan to join the first discussion. They agreed that the children would live mainly with Amara. Chinedu would take them on alternate weekends, attend school events, and contribute to tuition, medical bills, and major expenses. When the conversation turned to the house, Chinedu said Amara and the children should remain there. "I do not want them moving because of us," he said.
Amara looked at him. Thank you. It was the first sincere gratitude she had offered him in months. They both signed the temporary agreement. Afterward, Pastor Nathan asked whether they wanted to pray together. Chinedu hesitated. Amara almost refused. Then Adaora entered the room carrying a tray of bottled water, and both parents agreed. They stood apart while the pastor prayed for wisdom, peace, and the children. Amara did not ask God to bring Chinedu back. She asked only for strength to stop turning regret into another form of punishment. Work became difficult. The office building and conference rooms reminded her of Kelechi, though he no longer contacted her. One afternoon, her manager asked why she had become quiet. "Family matters," Amara replied. "You are still one of the strongest people here." The praise no longer comforted her. She resigned 3 months later. Nneka nearly dropped her phone when Amara told her, "You left a stable job in Lagos, in this economy."
I did not wake up and run away. I have been planning.
"What plan?" Amara opened a large bag and brought out 3 Ankara dresses she had designed and sewn with the help of a tailor in their neighborhood. "You made these?" "I designed them. Mama used to teach us how to cut simple patterns, remember?" Nneka examined the stitching. "This one is good." "Only this one?" "All 3 are good. But how will you pay bills while building a business?" "I have some savings. Chinedu is still paying his share for the children, and I already have 12 orders from women at church." Nneka looked at her for a long time. "Are you doing this because you are running from your old life?" "Maybe partly, but I also want to build something that does not depend on somebody noticing me." Together they turned the spare room into a small studio. They bought shelves, a second-hand sewing machine, and rolls of Ankara and Adire fabric from Balogun Market.
Amara called the business Adasom Creations, combining the names of her children. At first, customers were friends, church members, and women from the school parents group. Amara designed dresses for birthdays, naming ceremonies, and traditional weddings, while Nneka managed orders. Some customers wanted expensive work for impossible prices. "Auntie, reduce it. We are all sisters in Christ," one woman said. "My tailor and fabric seller are also in Christ, but they still collect money," Amara replied.
Word spread. Within 8 months, they moved into a small rented shop. Amara hired 2 young tailors and began posting photographs of her designs online. The business did not make her rich, but it gave her direction. The children adjusted more slowly. Somto still asked why Chinedu could not sleep over after bringing them home. Adaora stopped asking, but watched both parents carefully, as though she feared one careless sentence might begin another quarrel.
Amara and Chinedu learned to communicate in short, practical messages. Somto has a fever. I am taking him to the clinic. I am on my way. Adaora's debate is Thursday at 10. I will be there. School fees have increased. I saw the circular. I will transfer my part. When Somto became ill, Chinedu spent the night in a hospital chair while Amara slept beside him. At dawn, she woke and saw Chinedu covering Somto's feet with a blanket. For a moment, memory played a cruel trick on her. She saw the young man who once carried Adaora through the rain when she was a baby. She saw the husband who brought Suya home after late work and ate with Amara in the kitchen. Then Chinedu noticed she was awake. "How is he?" he asked. "His temperature is lower." Good. There was tenderness in the room, but it no longer belonged to their marriage. It belonged to their son. Amara understood the difference.
When the formal dissolution of the marriage was completed, the news arrived on a bright Monday morning. Amara sat in her shop, holding the documents while tailors worked in the next room. She expected to feel broken again. Instead, she felt a deep sadness mixed with relief. That evening, she told the children. "The papers are complete now," she said. "Daddy and I are no longer husband and wife." Somto looked confused. "But he is still Daddy." "Always." "And you are still Mummy?" "Always." Adora asked, "Will Daddy marry Auntie Ijeoma?" Amara took a breath. "I do not know. If he does, it will not change who I am to you." Adora nodded, then moved closer and rested her head on Amara's shoulder. Chinedu did not marry Ijeoma immediately. For more than a year, they saw each other quietly. Ijeoma did not force closeness with the children or ask them to keep secrets from Amara. That restraint slowly weakened Amara's anger. One afternoon, Ijeoma called her directly.
"Adaora left her literature notebook in Chinedu's car," she said. "She needs it tomorrow. I can send it by dispatch." "You can drop it with the security man." There was a pause. "Amara, I know speaking to me is uncomfortable." "It is." "I will not pretend otherwise, but I want you to know that I will never ask the children to choose between us." Amara looked at the unfinished dress on her table. "Thank you," she said. It was not friendship or complete forgiveness, but it was the beginning of peace. When Chinedu later told her he intended to marry Ijeoma, Amara did not cry until she was alone. He had asked to meet her near the children's school. "I wanted you to hear it from me before we tell them," he said. "When?" "In 3 months." She nodded. "Are you happy?" The question surprised both of them. "I am trying to be," he said. Amara looked at the man she had loved for more than a decade. He was familiar and distant at the same time. "I hope you do better with the truth this time," she said. "So do I. And do not allow the children to hear about plans from other people." "I will not." That night, Amara cried for the future she once believed belonged to her. Then she washed her face, checked Adaora's homework, and finished a customer's wedding dress. Chinedu and Ijeoma had a small ceremony in Enugu. Adaora and Somto attended with their father's family. Amara helped them pack. When Somto asked whether she felt bad, she answered carefully, "A little. But feeling sad does not mean I want your father to be unhappy." He hugged her. During the wedding weekend, Nneka insisted Amara stay with her. "You are not sitting alone and imagining every detail," she said. They ordered food, watched old films, and worked on new designs. Amara still checked the time during the ceremony, but she did not open social media. On Sunday evening, the children returned with gifts and stories.
Adaora watched her mother cautiously while speaking about the music, food, and dancing. "You can tell me," Amara said. "You do not have to protect me from being happy with Daddy." Adaora's shoulders relaxed. From then on, the children stopped dividing their lives into safe and unsafe stories. 2 years later, Adaora was selected to receive an Academic Excellence Award at school. The ceremony took place in a large hall decorated with blue and white balloons. Amara arrived with Nneka and sat near the front. Chinedu entered later with Ijeoma and Somto, who had spent the previous night with them. For a moment, the old discomfort returned. Then Ijeoma greeted her. "Good morning, Amara." "Good morning. You look well." "So do you." It was a small exchange, but once it would have seemed impossible. When Adaora's name was called, all of them stood and applauded. She walked onto the stage in her school uniform, collected the plaque, and smiled toward the audience.
After the ceremony, she found her parents near the entrance. "I want a picture," she said. "Of you and your award?" Amara asked. "With everybody." Chinedu and Amara looked at each other. Once, standing together for a photograph meant pretending their marriage was perfect. Now, there was nothing to pretend. They stood on either side of Adaora. Somto moved in front. Ijeoma stood beside Chinedu, uncertain whether to join. Adaora reached for her hand. "Auntie, come!" The photographer raised his camera. "Everybody smile!" Amara looked at her daughter, at Somto's wide grin, and at Chinedu standing only a few steps away. The pain had not vanished. It had simply lost the power to control every moment. She smiled. Later, as they walked toward the car park, Chinedu stopped beside her. "You have done well with the business," he said. "Thank you. Adaora says you are opening another shop. If everything goes well." He nodded. "I am proud of you."
Once, those words would have filled a hunger inside her. Now they were only kind words from someone who had known her in another life. "I am proud of the way you show up for the children," she replied. They stood in silence for a moment. "I am sorry for the ways I failed you," Chinedu said. Amara did not ask which failures he meant. They both knew there were many. "I am sorry too," she said. There was no dramatic embrace, no promise of another chance. Some stories do not need reunion to reach forgiveness. Chinedu joined Ijeoma and the children. Amara watched them walk ahead, then turned toward Nneka's car. She no longer believed letting go meant losing. She had lost a marriage, yes. She had also lost the version of herself who searched for worth in another person's attention. In its place, she had built a quieter woman, one who could admit her wrong without living forever on her knees. That night, Amara placed Adaora's award photograph on the shelf in the sitting room.
The family in the picture did not look like the one she had once prayed to preserve. It was wider, more complicated, and marked by old mistakes. But the children were smiling without fear. Amara touched the frame and understood that sometimes a family does not survive by remaining under one roof. Sometimes it survives when the adults finally stop using love as a reason to hurt one another. She switched off the light and walked upstairs. The house was quiet. This time, the quiet did not feel like loneliness. It felt like peace.